You know that boss? Yes, man. Make me read and turn till we tumble down. Make me hold your hand, girl. Make me read and turn till we tumble down. Make me hold your hand, girl. Yeah. Make me read and turn till we tumble down. Make me hold your hand, girl. Make me read and turn till we tumble down. Make me hold your hand, girl. Oh, thank you, my dear. Thank you so much.
One bongo man come to court me say me don't want nobody. Me give me 1 shilling and 40. Me take it by silk and satin. And when you down wheel and done me, what make you that turn and wheel me? You must have want me finger fall down, stick me belly and tambourina. Me washing, me starting, me ironing, me breaded pan ring marker, and one old unconscionable junk. Come throw it in a cricket and corner. And where you down wheel and turn me, what make you that turn and wheel me? You want me to fall down, stick me head by you tambourina. Not teary Jeremiah, not teary. Not teary Jeremiah, not teary. Not teary Jeremiah, not teary. Not tear up me silk and satin, silk and satin, silk and satin. And when you down wheel and turn me, what makes you that turn and wheel me? You must have want me finger fall down, stick me belly and tambourina. And when you down wheel and turn me, what make you that turn and wheel? You want me to fall down, make me belly and tambourina, tambourina, tambourina. Did the light of me want go home?
Did the light of me want go home?
Did the light of me want go home? Come, Mr. Tallyman, come tally me banana.
Did the light of me want go home?
Come fix your catamati, fi come take bunch banana.
Did the light of me want go home?
6 hand, 7 hand, 8 hand bunch. Did the light of me want go home? 6 hand, 7 hand, 8 hand bunch.
Did the light of me want go home?
Me come here fi work, me no come here fi idle.
Did the light of me want go home?
No give me sauce a bunch, me no horse with bride.
Did the light of me want go home?
6 hand, 7 hand, 8 hand bunch.
Did the light of me want go home?
6 hand, 7 hand, 8 hand bunch.
Did the light of me want go home?
He check a man a check, but in check with the caution.
Did the light of me want go home?
Me back this a broke with beer exhaustion.
Did the light of me want go home?
Did the light of me want go home? Did the light of me want go home?
Could you please welcome Dr. Louise Bennett?
Long time, girl, me never see you. Come make me hold your hand. It is a long time, girl, me never see you. Come make me hold your hand. Sit down for tree top, pick up the blossom. Make me hold your hand, girl. Make me hold your hand. All right, some music. Wait on, dear little. Aye. Now you see, that is the Jamaican welcome song. Come make me hold your hand. Now you have to welcome me, I welcome you. So you're going to sing with me. Come make me hold your hand. All right, yes dear. But I don't want to hear anybody say, come let me hold your hand. You see? Because you're going to pile up the culture. No matter with that. Come make me hold your hand. Come make me hold. This long time, girl, me never see you. Come make me hold your hand. It's a long time, girl, me never see you. Come make me hold your hand. Feel head down, cross, sit down, country top, sit down, make me hold your hand, girl. Make me hold you. Feel and turn. This long time, girl, me never see you. Come make me wheel and turn. It's a long time, girl, me never see you. Come make me wheel and turn. Feel head down, cross, sit down, country top, pick up the blossom. Make me wheel and turn, girl. Make me wheel and now walk and talk. It's long time, girl, me never see. Walk and talk. Hold on there, little, hold on. You see what happened? I don't want to hear anybody saying walk and talk. And when I go to Canada, I don't have any trouble with this because they naturally say walk and talk. This long time, girl, me never see. Me walk and talk. It's a long time, girl, me never see. Come make me walk and talk. Feel head jump, cross, sit down, country top, pick up the blossom. Make me walk and talk, girl. Make me walk and talk. Now we're coming to the mentor. You know the mentor that goes? Ta 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 ta. You know that part? Yes, man. Make me read and turn till we tumble down. Make me hold your hand, girl. Make me read and turn till we tumble down. Make me hold your hand, girl. Come, read and turn till we tumble down. Make me hold your hand, girl. Make me read and turn till we tumble down. Make me hold your hand, girl.
Birmingham's #1 for African arts, culture, and Afro edutainment. 98.7 New Style FM.
Oh, Thank you, my dear. Thank you so much. Now, my child, I have to tell you a few things. You see, when I said peel head junk for sit up and treat her pick off the blossom, you know what I mean? Some people know. Well, Master, I'm going to tell you what it means. Because most Jamaican people will know for we have peel head junk. Barbadian people won't know. No, Master, because, you know, some Barbadian people did come out to Jamaica one time. And when they said the peel head junk, you know, Jamaican turkey does fly high. Oh, my child. So you see, so this peel head junker, he's really a vulture, you know. So he doesn't pick blossoms. You know, peel head black junker don't eat blossom at all. You know a vulture eat. So then, when I say peel head junker, sit down and treat up, pick off the blossom, what a situation, what an unusual thing, what an impossible thing. I never thought we would have met, me darling. Come on, me hand. You see what it means? It's a sort of parable, like I say, when fowl up teeth are put to the egg or something like that. You know? It's an impossible situation. I never know who would have meted at the lyric. Come hold me hand, you know? Right. So then you know what peel head junker mean. And we have a whole lot of wonderful heritage, songs and stories and proverbs, and all kinds of nice things. And our language, of course, the basic thing is the language, which we have been talking for 300 years. Yes, we dear. And my aunt, you say she don't like nobody if say no language at all. She vex, you know, about the whole rhythm of the language, my child.
Our national anthem represents the beauty, pride, strength, and resilience of Jamaica and our people. My name is Agent Sasko. Please stand as we honor Jamaica, our culture, and our history.
Good morning, Alpha family. I extend this morning a warm welcome to our principal, Mrs. McMorris. I also extend a warm welcome to the Senior Education Officer, Region 1, Mrs. Susan Nelson Bloomfield. To our vice principals, Miss Davis and Mrs. Parker Williams, and our administrative team, teachers, parents, and students, ancillary workers, the entire Alpha family, I extend to you a warm Heritage Day welcome. As we celebrate Heritage Day, we celebrate it under the theme, as highlighted beautifully, Hands and Hearts United, Jamaicans resilient and strong. We reflect today on our legacy as a nation. We reflect on the legacy of our national heroes and their extended and warm and beautiful and outstanding contribution to our nation, Jamaica. We feel a sense of pride and joy as we celebrate their resilience as a people, and as we will continue to celebrate the resilience of our people as we go through the pandemic. We are also mindful that as a people, we shall not forget our roots and our culture. As the right excellent Marcus Messiah Garvey stated, a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. My beautiful Alpha daughters, my Alpha sisters, our Alpha family, today I encourage you to be resilient in whatever you may do, to bear with your pride that is depicting of Jamaica. I encourage you today to salute and celebrate our heritage in the best and most beautiful style of Jamaica. Let us have a beautiful devotion and a beautiful celebration this morning. Happy Heritage Day.
Morning, everyone. Are you guys hearing me okay? And you hearing the piano? Miss Smith Burton, morning. You guys hearing me clearly?
Good morning, Mr. Brown.
We're just going to join our hearts with a couple of songs of worship together this morning as we give God praise. If you know these songs, you can join in.
For the Lord God Almighty reigns. Yes, He does. Hallelujah. Holy, holy are you, Lord God Almighty. Worthy is the Lamb, worthy is the Lamb. You are holy, holy are you, Lord God Almighty. Worthy is the Lamb, worthy is the Lamb. Amen.
you know He reigns this morning, you can lift your voices where you are and sing. Sing hallelujah. Hallelujah. For the Lord God Almighty reigns. You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies till all my fears are gone. You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song, yeah, of deliverance from my enemy, yeah, till all my fears are gone, and I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God, yeah. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. If you know it, you can sing. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Your love has called my name. I've been born again into a family, yeah, yes. Your blood flows through my veins. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God, and I'm no longer a slave
I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child. God bless you guys. Have a good day.
Good morning to the Alpha family. Morning, colleagues. Morning, ladies. This morning, we will spend a couple of minutes to reflect on the theme of our celebrations as we take a step back to take a step forward. I want to my apologies, had some background distractions. Please bear with me. This morning, I want to thank everyone for joining in as we do what is very important as a people, as a family, as a school, and that is to reflect on God's salvation history, his journey with us through time, and what he has made us as a result of his relentless and loving journey with us. The scripture text that was selected, I'm going to ask that to be posted. I want to bring our attention to that portion of text in just a moment. As we reflect on the theme, Hand and Hearts United, Jamaica Resilient and Strong. As we also reflect on our National Heroes Day theme, celebrating a heritage of resilience and pride. I want to take us into the portion of scripture that was selected for our reflection. It reads thus: "Give ear, O people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known, and our fathers told us. We will not hide them from our children, showing to the generation to come the praises of our Lord and the strength and his wonderful works that he hath done." Verse 5, "For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children." My brothers and sisters, students, colleagues, everyone, borrowing the phrase for the beginning of the novel, famous novel by Charles Dickens, it says, "It was the best of times and the worst of times." The origin of this phrase, as was said earlier, has been taken from the famous opening paragraph of Charles Dickens's novel, A Tale of Two Cities. The novel opens with, "As it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, the age of foolishness, the epoch of belief. It was also the epoch of incredulity." Phrase, paragraph 1, line 1. This phrase points out a major conflict between family and love, hatred and oppression, and evil, light and darkness, good and evil, light and darkness, wisdom and folly. Dickens begins his tale with a vision that human prosperity cannot be matched with human despair. But how do we understand such a phrase in the context within which we are now living? The salvation history of God is one of relentless grace and radical pursuit of the human heart. God is neither ashamed of us or his actions to make us the people of his original intent. So in Psalm 78, God commands Asaph to pen the history of his presence with stubborn Israel to make them a people with a heritage of resilience, in which they can find strength for the future and pride of achievement. Not only that Israel was commanded not to hide this history, though checkered by human flaws, from their children and the next generation. We heard the word of the Lord, as read earlier. I want to emphasize, my brothers and sisters, that a portion of our history reads, on May 1, 1880, Jesse Ripoll, holding the hand of one lone orphan whom she had named Mary, walked up the path to Alpha Cottage, thus simply and unostentatiously was begun the great work which would bring wide acclaim from the Jamaican government, from the civic community, and from the poor who knew their children would find a home should parents die and leave them orphans. This was the continuation of the work of Paul Bogle and George William Gordon, whose effort to address the crippling injustice and inequality was arrested and crushed only 25 years earlier. Yes, the Ballad of 65, as some of us may know it, the Morant Bay Massacre, as some call it, or rebellion, as history records it, that shocked the oppressive and savage colonial powers of the day. So we can modify Dickinson's opening lines to his novel, A Tale of Two Cities, and say, the 1800s, this period, was the worst of times, yet was the best of times. It was the times within which our school, Alpha, Convent of Mercy, was founded. It was the time when men and women sought to address serious inequalities in society. It was a time when grown women were ready to leave the comfort of their families to become a part of the Jamaican society, so that the worst of history would also have equivalent and even greater, the best of history alongside it. As the psalmist records in the salvation history of Israel in the 4th and 6th verses of Psalm 78, we will not hide them from their children, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which are unborn, or to be born, who would arise and declare them to their children. Our heritage is something that we should never be ashamed of. Our heritage is what we have, the tangible evidence that we existed even before we were born. What is it then, as Jamaicans, we should not hide from our children, and why? Like Israel, we have been through many dark days as a people. The wars, the religious, the social, economic upheavals of Africa, Asia, the Middle East, Europe, the Middle Passage, as I call it, the going through the Blue Sea, the plantation crucible of our forefathers, diseases, dysfunctional family structures, European surnames without binding inheritances, free slavery, and free slaves, not freed, but free slaves and wageless workers, landless peasantry, voteless citizenry. Then came the shock of capitalism with no common currency or market, pun intended, and the digital and social distancing divide of COVID-19. More could be said if we had time. We must tell our children that TikTok and the sound is the sound of a clock of opportunity, industry, resilience, and tenacity, not just the frivolous frenzy of time-wasting routines. We must tell our children that the cockpit country and the beauty of the Blue Mountains and John Crow Mountains, the sweat of sugar workers, the mystique of our musicians, and the incredible feat of our homegrown athletes are the God-given heritage they have been given to remind and inspire us that resilience is ours. And in the toughest of times, we can be the most resilient of people. We must therefore, my brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, students alike, we must use what we have been taught by our God and the inheritance or the heritage of our people to face this COVID-19 crisis as a strong, resilient people out of many, one people. God bless you, and God continue to bless Jamaica land we love.
Cameron Calvert will do this section. Cameron Calvert.
Our guest speaker is a passionate educator who is committed to the mandate of providing quality education to the children of this nation. She is a proud Myconian who is trained in the teaching of history and social studies. She served her alma mater, Convent of Mercy Academy Alpha, for 22 years as a teacher of English language, literature, history, and social studies. She also served this institution as a departmental head, sixth form supervisor, dean of student affairs, dean of studies, and 8 years as vice principal. She was the principal of Trenchtown High School for 3 years. She has an undergraduate study in history with social sciences and a postgraduate study in educational administration. She is the spokesperson for the National College for Educational Leadership. She was a finalist in 2014 JTC, in which she received the LASCO Principal of the Year award. She has been an educational officer at the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information since September 2015. She served as a supervisory educational officer for 22 secondary schools in Kingston and St. Andrew for 5 years. She is presently the senior education officer for supervisory oversight of 115 infant and primary schools in Region 1. She is a proud mother of her daughter, a past Alpharian, who recently completed her bachelor's in animal science in Tuskegee University in Alabama, USA. Everyone, please help me to welcome Miss Susan Nelson Bloomfield.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for that introduction, and that picture of me looks very young. So thank you for whoever who found that picture to represent me. Principal, vice principals, members of the academic and support staff, the wider Alpha community, and most importantly, the students of this noble institution. Good morning. It is indeed a pleasure to share with you this morning for your Heritage Day celebration. And I'm thankful to Mrs. Burton, friend and former colleague, for inviting me home. My only regret is that we have to be using this virtual platform, which has become the new normal, rather than me having the awesome opportunity to meet and greet you all in person. As a former teacher of history with an immense passion for the preservation of our rich Jamaican heritage, I greet you this morning with the words of our first national hero. And it is so coincidental that these are the same words that Mrs. Burton chose to greet you with. And it shows just how powerful these words are, and they are worth repeating. A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. The Most Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. This morning, I'm here to remind you about our roots as Jamaican people, to explore why it is important to celebrate our rich heritage, as well as to speak about the future. I want to ask you two important questions this morning, questions that are closely tied to the theme, hands and hearts united, Jamaicans resilient and strong. And my first question to you this morning is, why is it important to celebrate our heritage? And this is not just a question for history and social studies teachers or for students of history. It is for all of us as builders of this great nation. Yesterday, we celebrated an important aspect of our heritage, National Heroes Day, where we recognize our heroes for their contribution to societal progress and development. Additionally, 120 honorees were awarded for their contribution to Jamaica. And of course, there were several Heroes Day messages from members of the political directorate and the clergy. But how many of us truly embraced and reflected on the meaning of this celebration? Of course, the 3 p.m. curfew cut us short yesterday, so we really couldn't celebrate. Many of us would have gone to the beach or whatever it might have been. But I ask again, how many of us truly embraced and reflected on the meaning of this celebration? Undeniably, we appreciate the public holiday as it is a day from work or school. However, it is important to acknowledge our heroes, as these were the people who challenged the status quo, opposed societal evils and injustices, and paved the way for Jamaica that has allowed us to enjoy some of the rights and privileges that exist today, such as education. This is something that you enjoy today. Political and economic independence, and some may question if as a nation we are truly independent. But I must add that as a people, we have discredited our heroes by basically giving away that independence that they so desperately fought to preserve. We also have national pride and universal adult suffrage, that is the right to vote. We can also celebrate a Jamaica that embodies the motto, out of many one people, as our heritage is a diverse combination of our African, Asian, and European ancestry. Additionally, the celebration of our heroes is one avenue through which we can preserve our rich Jamaican heritage. Heroes such as Nanny of the Maroons and Sam Sharp united their hands and hearts and were resilient and strong in their continuous challenge against the oppressive system of slavery. The work and teachings of Marcus Mosiah Garvey epitomize the ideas of racial pride, unity, and self-reliance. The heroic actions of Paul Bogle and George William Gordon established the rise of the Jamaican working class. The successes of Alexander Bustamante and Norman Manley are deeply entrenched in the history of our political independence and tied to the birth of of our two main political parties. And so I ask the question again, why is it important to celebrate our heritage? I hope I've answered my first question. And now my second question to you, and this question, you'll find several other questions emanating. The question is, how have you nurtured your Jamaican heritage? It has become cliche to say that a knowledge of your history is important so that we do not repeat the mistakes of the past. However cliche this statement has become, we must admit that it is indeed a powerful statement. Most importantly, we must be mindful of the fact that each day we're given the opportunity to create history. Teachers and students of Alpha Academy, how have you created history? And what will be your legacy? The year 2020 has ushered many challenges for us as a people, notably the global pandemic created by COVID-19. You have had to unite hands and hearts to face the impact of this health crisis on our educational landscape. Who would have thought that virtual teaching and learning, wearing masks, constant sanitization of our hands, and physical distancing would have become the new normal? 30 years from now, what will the history books say about the Jamaican people in 2020? What will be the lessons of the past that your children and grandchildren will read about and learn from? As members of the Alpha community, how resilient, united, and strong have you been in overcoming the hurdles along the way as you wrestle with COVID-19? Alpha girls, how have you supported each other to navigate the virtual learning platforms and other modalities of learning? And how have you been your sister's keeper? Today, are you a better version of who you were yesterday? And will tomorrow witness the best version of who you wish to become as you discover the heroine in you? And I know for the first formers, your journey has just begun. For the fifth and sixth formers, you will soon be closing a chapter in your academic journey at Alpha Academy. And so let us think about these questions. You think about these questions. What is the woman that you would want to become? And I was a bit disheartened when I was reading the chat and there was one student who made a very disrespectful comment. And then when I looked at the responses and the way she was admonished by her Alpha sisters, she was told how disrespectful she was and that she must be a first former because she has not yet truly got a taste of the true Alpharian experience. And so kudos to all those girls who responded to that one disrespectful comment that was in the chat. Our future is bright and golden. Our future is in the hands of Alpha girls. And 30 years from now, I hope God's willing I'll be alive. I can rest assured that I can depend on you to create that Jamaica that we so want to see. Alpha girls, you're also very fortunate to be associated with an educational institution that is characterized by its own rich heritage, one that has nurtured and molded so many women of worth who have positively impacted the national and international arenas. You know, I smiled when I heard yet again the story of Jessie Paul and that one little girl that led to the birth of the Alpha community, the Alpha family. And I smiled because as a student, I heard that story so many times. As a teacher, as vice principal, I repeated that story so many times that it has become so much a part of me and will become so much a part of you because it is your heritage as students, past students of this noble institution and members of the Alpha community. Alpha ladies, as the women of tomorrow, how will your lives reflect the principles of goodness and truth that are encapsulated in your school's motto, And how will your actions engender the spirit of the mercy charism? The answers to my many questions posed this morning will ultimately be your contribution to nurturing your Jamaican heritage as you acknowledge the past and continue to build a strong, united Jamaica that our national heroes envisioned. And so I end with the words of Jamaica's national song, one that we do not hear often enough. I will not attempt to sing it, as my past colleagues will tell you that this is a talent that regrettably I do not possess. And so I repeat the words of a very beautiful song. Jamaica, land of beauty, we promise faithfully to serve thee with our talents and bring our gifts to thee. Jamaica, we'll always, in honor of thy name, work steadfastly and wisely and never bring thee shame. From riverside to mountain, from cane field to the sea, our hearts salute Jamaica, triumphant, proud, and free. I almost broke out into song, but I will save you and save myself the embarrassment. So I really want to thank you. Mrs. Burton warned me not to stay too long because I could go on. And we history teachers know that once we start talking about history, there's no stop to it. But I really want to thank you for allowing me to celebrate with you today. Some feelings of nostalgia came back. And again, I say it's such a pity because of COVID-19, I couldn't be there to meet and greet with you in person. And I really want to take this opportunity on behalf of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information to commend the management and staff of the Convent of Mercy Academy Alpha for enriching the lives of these young ladies, for adding value to their educational experience. Walk good, everyone. Good morning. God bless you.
School has full of good influence. Be good girls like your granny ones. Hold up your sister, hold each other hands. Together we can do the victory dance. Together we can do the victory dance. With God you can do it, can do it, can do it. With God you can do it, can do it, can do it. With God you can do it, can do it, can do it. If you can go through it, you can grow through it. Me used to love fight and chat. A girl diss me punch that. Teacher come lager ears, don't bat. Burning grabber was my comfort. As me see a cute boy, me turn fool. A regular, me used to school. Each punk corner a world to never abide by no rule. Clothes and shoes was my thing. Shut up, shut me love show my skin. Me never business bout my self-worth. Take in my blouse and cut my skirt. Me never know who me supposed to trust. Follow friend a bubble in a coaster bus. Back and forth from town to country. No gonna school, I follow bad company. Me did rude out of this dimension. Give my parents stress hypertension. Do some things too sick to mention. Until the most I had intervention. With God you can do it, can do it, can do it. With God you can do it, can do it, can do it. With God you can do it, can do it, can do it. If you can go through it, you can grow through it. Girls, I wonder if you're mad. You know the right and still I do the bad. Look at the failures that you've had. Embrace success through God. Now it's the best me giving you this testimony. With God in your life, it makes sense. reach higher, higher, excellence. With God you can do it, can do it, can do it. With God you can do it, can do it, can do it. With God you can do it, can do it, can do it. You can go through it, you can grow through it. With God you can, you can, you can. With God you can, you can, you can. With God you can do it, can do it, can do it. You can go through it, you can grow through it. School has follow good influence. Be good girls like your granny wants. Lift up your sister, hold each other hand. Together we can do the victory dance. Together we can do the victory dance. With God you can, you can, you can. With God you can.
Our national anthem represents the beauty.
Over to you, Mrs. Smith-Burton.
Thank you, Mr. Parchment. I want to take this time to say a big thank you, especially to Mrs. Nelson Bloomfield for gracing us today virtually with her presence. The message that she brought to us was one that brought back our important heritage and legacy that we as a nation share and that we should embrace. I hope my little ones in the lower school this morning was an inspiration to you as it was to the Alpha community. I hope that you will also draw from the message that was brought to you. Mr. Brown, who sang and inspired us through his music, and also Mr. Morris, who gave us through the readings that came from the Bible and his reflection. I thank Ms. Calvert for her introduction and also the online platform Most importantly, I also thank the academic, administrative department, our principal and everyone, and to you especially, the Alpha family, parents and everyone that joined today. Let us continue to be the resilient people that we are. Let us continue to hold Jamaica high. Let us continue to believe, even though we're little, but we're talawa. And I wish for you a very good day, and I hope that you too will make Jamaica proud. Thank you.
We don't need to shame at the things we have at all. Like my auntie would say, she vexed any time she hearing the people I come style for make a language as corruption of the English language. You ever hear anything, Gosso? Aunt Georgia said she don't know what make them not call the English language corruption of the Norman, French, and the Greek, and the Latin. Derived from. Oh no, hear the word? English derive, but Jamaica corrupt. No, master, not now, Gosso. We not corrupt and them derive. We derive too. Hey, Jamaica derive. We derive. And let me tell you, man, we derive from the English. We derive from Portuguese, from Spanish, and all them sitting, all the people who was there. And on top of it, the basic thing that we derive from is African and Kuya, Pupa. Plenty of the words them in a fairy language where them tell us say corruption. A good African word. Good African word that come from a nice African language named Chui. You hear what name? Chui. Yeah, man. It's spelled T-W-I, but they pronounce Chui. I want good language. And make me tell you, missus, you see all word like bankrupt? Yeah, I trade that. A basket, you know. And when we say nyam, and them go on like when you say nyam, you talk bad. I want good word. Food and eating and all them things there. Yeah, oh man. Like fenke and pia. You know? And susu and sese and casa. Poto. You know when we say something poto. I want good word. It mean mud. And you know, like when we say dirty tough, and them tell us say that it's a corruption of dirty, and not true. Dirty is ground in tree. It means the ground. Dirty tough, the ground hard. Yes, dirty tough. Yes, man. So we not shame at all. But my auntie Rocha said the whole thing did happen when the English forefathers them was a try for most about the African ancestors them they chat so English. What the African ancestors